Hello guys, so this video is going to be about my relationship with Maca, I guess. It's one of those days when you have really weird realizations and you know you have to do certain things because you sort of get inspired to do certain things and told to do certain things, and you start connecting dots all over the place. And it's a really weird feeling. I don't know if this happens to people a lot or if it's just me, and you get like moments of clarity and realization. And today is the first new moon after Beltane, and I realised that my altar needed attending to, and I always attend my altar on the new moon, give it a clean out, etc. And I realised it was time to switch the candles around. And I'm going to show you that in a second. And as the day has been going on, little ideas, little things have been popping up all over the place, and I realised it's Maca. And the first thing was that it was time for Maca to come to the forefront of my altar, which I'm going to show you in a second. But the other thing, I'm going to put this t-shirt on in a second, I've been told, and it's one of my favourites. And like, I have, I think, 3 or 4 of my favourite tops have horses on them somewhere, and it's really weird, and I've never really realised that half of my clothing, well not half, but like a lot of my clothing collection has horses of some description on, and this is one. I mean, look how beautiful. It's a t-shirt, this is, with, it's a browny earthy colour with these beautiful images of horses on. I'm going to put this on in a minute. I have a top on at the minute. I actually have a wolf top on at the minute. Make of that what you will. And I have like jewellery. See, this is one of my favourite pieces of jewellery, and it's like a galloping horse. It's only a cheap one, but I love it. I mean, I love charms, and quite frequently the ones with horses on. And it's really weird because I've never really had much to do with horses overtly. I got riding lessons as a kid for about a month, and then my mother refused to let me do it anymore, and I was heartbroken. And I've always been able to connect with horses. Like, if we walk past field, horses come and talk to me all the time, and I'm beginning to wonder if horses might be my totem animal as well as wolves. Like, I know wolves are my spirit guides, but I'm wondering if horses and the connection through Maca. It's all very things falling into place all the time, and it's really odd. So I'm going to put these on. I'm going to show you my altar in a second, how I've readjusted it for the new moon. I'm going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to make a herbal blend, and it's going to be for an incense and for a herbal blend for Macha in Morrigan and her mother aspect as Macha. So I'm just going to do that for a second and then talk some more. Okay, so I now have my t-shirt on and my horse pendant on, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Maca. Now, Maca is the mother aspect of the Morrigan, in case anybody's slightly confused. The Morrigan has a triple aspect and is a shapeshifter and has so many aspects to it, so it's quite overwhelming, and it's easiest to connect to her through these 3 aspects of herself. So Macha has the most legends surviving, and she is affiliated as a warrior, as a mother, as a sovereign, and has the connection to the land, horses in particular, and cattle. But for me, there is something about the connection with the horses, is obviously it's always been there throughout my life. Like, I've been attracted to imagery of horses, and I think horses are beautiful creatures, even though I've not had an awful lot to do with them, really, or the chance to. So I got the feelings that she's been speaking through me today and nudging me, and I got the distinct impression this is because it is the first new moon after Beltane, so it was time to rearrange the altar. So here at the front it is now Macha's goodies. over there in this section is now Bave's, and over here is where Anu has moved to. And this is Macha's little section specifically, and her oil that I made for her is this one with the full moon on top. And she gets a red spell candle which I anointed already with the oil, and I anoint it every time I light them, every morning. And I sort of just seal them onto tea lights like this. I've given them each an obsidian, and that one's Maca's. I think I picked this one because it was quite rounded, and there was something about having a rounded obsidian, like the rounded of a mother's belly as she's getting pregnant. And spear of amethyst. Spearhead, arrowhead. I have given each aspect of the goddess a crystal which I feel ties into them, and a shape which ties into them, really. So you have this one is Maca's. There is an aventurine mini pyramid for Anu, and then a smoky quartz cluster. Can't see it very well from that far away. Woo! Or it was. Alright then, for Babe. It's beautiful. They're all beautiful. And then there is the candles which I've made, and I cannot burn them. It's like, why do you still burn the little spell candles? Because I haven't got the heart to burn these. And I could technically keep remaking them, but yeah. So it's red again for her colour. And then in here there is a piece of amethyst, and there is vervain and rose petals. Now that's what's in her oil, as well as a selected, was it rose petals? Or did I go with red sandalwood? No, in her oil was red sandalwood. So I wonder if I've put red sandalwood in this one and it's just not showing, or did I just change it to rose petals? Maybe I changed it to rose petals. Both are appropriate. So red is her colour. I've always seen her with red hair. She's the only, in fact actually I see them all with slightly different colours of hair, thinking about it. I thought I saw the other two with black, but I don't. Because I've seen Anu with chestnut coloured hair like mine. My hair is chestnut, by the way. It might look very brown on videos, but it shines through red. There is red hair in my family. My sister has very, not ginger, she's sort of a honey red colour. She got lucky. It's gorgeous. So I've always seen Maca with a very red hair, and there's some really interesting myths surrounding Maca and really worth looking into. And she's the aspect of the Morrigan that up until this point I've had the most trouble connecting with. Now this can be my own issues with motherhood, very likely, or it just, I mean, Babe I connected to like click, like straight away, but that's how I've been my whole life with crone figures. I've always related to older women really, really well, really, really easily. I had a really beautiful experience in meditation with Anu, and I'm guessing this is Maca going, right, it's my turn. And horses popping up everywhere, and then I have a very distinct feeling I had to do this with the altar. So before Anu was sat here, Maca was sat there, and Babe was sat there, so they've all gone round the clockwise direction, with the changing of the seasons and the changing of the energies, which is interesting. It being the new moon. So Yes, so we're going to create a herbal blend / incense blend. I like to make them as a herbal blend so you can use them for multi-purpose. I think that's important. And we're going to make a Maca one. So I'm going to go through my herb drawer so you don't have to watch me do that, picking out the herbs that I want, resonate with, and her associated herbs in some cases. Usually they overlap, so I'm going to do that now, and we're going to go through each one and talk about it. Okay, so I've got a whole bunch of different things, a whole load of them. Now, this is just me showing you how I'm going to make something for Maca, and if you wanted to work with Maca, this is obviously something you could do. You don't have to use all of the herbs that I'm doing. You could pick and choose a couple or whatever. This would also work in a situation where if you wanted to connect with a mother aspect of any goddess. And it's just giving you an idea. I mean, this is obviously very personal to me in this respect. As you can tell, I've shared with you, I think I'm being told to do this. So it's obviously very personal to me. So bear that in mind as we go forward. So the first thing I've put in is salt, good old rock salt. It always goes in everything I do. It's very purifying, it's very powerful, my stomach's rumbling apparently. So, you know, it's necessary, I think, that I start everything off with salt. And I'm going to put some acai gum in. Acai gum is something that I just felt like I ought to put in, and therefore I'm doing that. It's not in any of the standardised texts or anything, but if I want to put it in, I shall. And I'm going to put copal in as well, which is also more about me than anything else. And then I'm going to put pine resin in. I'm putting pine resin in because pine is one of her associations, more to do with pine needles than it is to do with pine resin, but it works from a resin basis. So, and then last but not least is dragon's blood resin. It's probably my favourite resin of all. Oh no, it's not the last one, I tell a lie. So I'm going to put a nice big chunk of dragon's blood in there. And the actual last resin is going to be myrrh, which is one of her correspondences. She has a very strong connection to the land and sovereignty, which is a Celtic belief system where sovereignty and sovereignship, if you like, and I'm just crushing these in my mortar and pestle off camera, so that's what the smashing is. Sovereignty and the land went hand in hand, and if there was a strong monarch, then there would be a strong fertile crop and everyone would prosper from the land. And nowhere is this more evident than in the mythos and legends surrounding Maca. And I've been musing over the warrior aspects of the Morrigan, and I may well make a warrior video next week at some point. And that's to do with sovereignty of land as well, like cattle raiding was their way of life, and that was to do with prosperity and sovereignty as well as a system of honour. So that's what the resin side of things look like, with some salt in. Now technically that would make a lovely incense just by itself. It smells nice already. And if you wanted to do a simple incense for Maca, or for the warrior goddess, or for the mother goddess in a generalised sense, that would work beautifully with this. Stop at stomach, please. And I've got a few powdered things. I think I'll add a few powdered things to that next. Is it just 2? Alright. I'm going to add that whole. And maybe, okay. I'm going to put, actually I'm going to take the lid off, a very small pinch of ginger. Ginger's technically quite masculine. It's very fiery, which Macha obviously is. There's something there to me about the fire connection with Macha more. Well, actually, I would consider fire to be an integral part of the Morrigan goddess, full stop. And which is why I'm putting the next herb in as well, which is spice technically, which is cinnamon. And there's something for this year is for me to get more acquainted with the male side of things, because the Morrigan is both, and because divinity is both, but you can work with 3 aspects, which is Ludar. I've forgotten the third one. I had them written down because it's something I need to start incorporating in for balance, for my sake more than anything else. But Macha, I think, is very, very fiery. There's some rosemary. I think we will have 2 pinches of rosemary. I'm just going to write 2 next to my rosemary on my list. Rosemary is one of her herbs, as is pine needles, and I'm going to put those in whole, 1 small pinch, 2 small pinches. There's something very earthy about pine needles. I have very strong memories of pine needles and going camping in France, and it brings back memories of being that close to the earth, and obviously the goddess Maca is particularly close to the realm of earth, like I said, with it being tied into sovereignty, and her animals being horses and cattle, which are very tied into the land, very earthy. And so are the next herbs that I am going to use. I've put 2 little leaves of white sage into my mortar and pestle. This is my white sage. And what was the next one? Oh. And then I'm going to put in 3 cloves. Oh, wow, so maiden, mother and crone really, but maiden, mother and crone. Because whilst it is for Maca, Maca still is the Morrigan. It's just one aspect, one way of looking at her, one face, one understanding. It's all the same. I'm only going to put 1 tiny little bit of star anise in, because I don't want it to overpower. And whilst I love star anise, and it is very earthy, as is clove and sage, I don't want these herbs to overpower everything else. So I'm just giving them a crush. This is going to look really pretty, I think, when it's all over. So we put 3 bits of clove in. I put sage, 2 white sage leaves, and a tiny bit of star anise. Okay. It's only a very small bit there. Okay, now the next thing that's going in is angelica root, which you all know. Angelica root is my favourite herb. I've been working with angelica root, rue and red sandalwood obsessively of late. Let's give this a bit of a crush. So some of the bigger bits are a bit smaller. And just Oh, I love the smell. I love it. It's so beautiful. And all of those 3 ingredients are actually going in this. So I'm going to just put 1 pinch of rue into that. And I will probably put 2 of red sandalwood. Both of these are herbs, I believe. Yeah. So, red sandalwood has that spice, that sun, that fire, that commanding presence, just like she does. So there you go. So next into the mortar and pestle is going 3 pinches of vervain. And 3 pinches of wormwood, 2 pinches of mullein, and 1, 2, 3 of are you going to show patchouli leaf, and we'll give those a loose stirry crush. Like so. And then the final 3 are more of flowers, and they will be crushed up a little bit better than they are. So 2 pinches of orange flower, 2 pinches of jasmine, and 2 pinches of rose petals. Maca is renowned as being a real beauty. Mortal men fell in love with her, and all of these herbs are true of that. Okay, sorry about that. The video camera, little devil, decided he needed plugging in. Didn't realise he did. I thought he'd been plugged in overnight, but apparently he did not charge. So just had to run and do that. So I'm just crushing the flowers, the orange flower, rose petal, and the jasmine. So yeah, Maca was considered a great beauty, and many mortal men fell in love with her, and some of the major stories revolve around this concept and the sort of failures of men. So we're going to give that a stir. There we go, that's a shot. And I think I will actually burn some and show you what it looks like burning. It looks pretty. And somewhere between earthy and fiery, which is how I visualise Macha. So that's pretty. It's very pretty. Okay, so let's there. That's really beautiful. It's really nice. It smells lovely. I don't think I'm going to put any oil in this one. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I'm going to set up a charcoal disc going, and then we'll see what it looks like burning. Okay, so this is a really lovely thing you can do for any goddess or god, or spirits, or your ancestors, or anything along these lines. You make your own sort of incense or herbal blend, and you give it up an offering. Now you can see the little charcoal disc is heated away and it's going very white hot now. So I'm going to say a few words and then sprinkle some of the incense and stuff that I just made, and you can see me doing that on camera. Because I don't mind sharing this aspect, because this is just honouring Macha in her mother goddess aspect, and sharing the honouring process, as far as I'm concerned, just further brings honour to her name. Honour to Macha. Honour to Macha, mother aspect of the Morrigan, lady of sovereignty and earth, lady of battlefield and prophecy, mother to us all. With her long flowing hair, crimson in flight, and eyes that flash, and arms that fight. Honour to Macha, mother aspect of the Morrigan. Honour to you on this day and all days hereafter. Blessed be. And just to finish off this video about Macha and honouring Goddess and the shifting of energies, which is definitely what this is about, and the flowers have come off the altar ready for drying out. Many blessings.